How's it going?
I like how he's like put out. Doesn't want to be there.
Now, the movie Heat. It has De Niro, Pacino, Kilmer. But the reason everyone loves it is, yeah, you guessed it. Wayne Grow.
Does he die in a robe in the end of the last scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Haters loving it.
So, who here is on a dating app? Tinder, Bumble, Yelp. And who here has seen Heat?
It's like so dumb.
And who here that has seen Heat is terrified to be on the stage with me, Wayne Grow?
That is, what a weird
It's
pitch.
just for 5 minutes. I mean, it's insane.
Wow.
So it kind of becomes unfunny and then gets funny again.
Right. It's cool that he's going right in. He's like, I'll ride it out.
Yeah, I mean, should we start it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we were just talking Val Kilmer, man. R.I.P. Val Kilmer, one of the best.
Yeah, great guy.
Such a talent.
Great documentary. Top Secret. I grew up on that
Oh,
shit.
he's so good in that.
Blew my mind.
So funny.
So funny, the scene where he's in a shootout with the windows and he bangs a hole in the window. It's like a circle. Then they shoot him and it's an X. Then he bangs another circle out. I mean,
I love
gold.
I love when he's in the prison cell and he keeps marking as if time passed and you think it's like 20 days, but it's been like 20 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, it's a really funny movie.
The Black Eyes Chocolate Mousse. There's a lady with cleavage who starts talking to this guy. He's a robot, and she starts rubbing her tits on him, and his antenna goes up. I mean,
so good.
So many great gags in that movie.
Also, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh
my God.
Great movie.
He's so... and these are all like different types of comedy. So he's not just a great, versatile actor, but he's doing different types of comedic performances too. And
Totally.
Dude, he's really funny in Tombstone.
Great. Oh, he makes Tombstone.
He's the reason to watch Tombstone.
I mean, imagine the range. He's in Top Secret and the Doors movie.
I know.
Yes. And Top Gun as Iceman. Yeah.
But dude, when he has that first showdown with Johnny Ringo, and Johnny Ringo does all the fucking tricks with the gun, and then he just does the same thing with an empty glass of whiskey he was drinking. It's so... I mean... He gave you everything in Tombstone. Like, he's a badass. He's funny. He makes you cry in the end.
Vulnerable.
He's so cool.
Oh, yeah. He's
Heat.
the man.
We didn't even bring up Heat.
Oh, Heat. One of the coolest. Michael Mann's masterpiece.
I don't know if it's my favorite Michael Mann movie, but I love it.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Manhunter?
I might go
Thief.
The Insider,
Thief?
dude.
Insider's great.
The Insider's incredible.
That's a hell of a movie.
But I love Val Kilmer. Apparently, Vita was telling me this, that I think they couldn't pay him what his rate was, but he was like, if you put me on the poster with Pacino and De Niro, I'll do it, and pull up the poster. I mean, that's like a power move right there.
It's funny because I was always like, why is he on the poster? He doesn't seem big enough, but there you go.
There you go.
And he got a name on there too. Look at that. Wow, good for Val. What a guy. Great documentary if you want to weep all night. Watch Val.
It was a wreck on this podcast. And I watched it because of you, and,
Yes.
and you said you cried, and I got misty myself.
It passed the girlfriend test. I was like, let's try this. She's like, are you kidding? Who is this guy? I never heard of him. And then she was weeping.
You've never heard of Val Kilmer?
She is out to lunch this
She's 16 years old.
She doesn't know Brando, De Niro,
What?
Pacino. She knows The Bachelor. She knows Below Deck. She knows the Kardashians.
Deck.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
But-
he was great, man. And he was in, like, talks about being... I mean, he was Batman.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not bring that up.
It's not the worst Batman. And he's a good Batman. It's just not a good movie.
Yeah, Schumacher really got weird on
He
that
got
one.
gay. It was all about lips.
Yes.
He was. It was all about Batman's lips. You're just like, what are we doing here?
That's when you get the black Batman. But, yeah. All right. And Gene Hackman. We got to throw him in the mix, too. I don't know if we did a thing on him yet. But, yeah. Look at those
That's what I mean.
luscious beauties there.
Yeah, he looks like he's in an S&M club in Berlin. Like, what the hell?
Does, yes.
Is this Batman, or am I about to get fucking spanked here? What the hell?
I know. I'm wearing a ball gag over here.
What is going on?
Hachi machi. Look at the cup on that son of a bee. That's
Was it the Clooney one, or was it this one where he had nipples
That's
on the
the controversy about this one. He had nipples.
Nipples on
Wow.
the suit.
He's ripped. I mean, he's got me in a wet market.
Who's designing this? We're like, we need nipples. I
Yeah.
also love that they draw on the six-pack for this outfit.
I know.
Like, Batman's like, look, I do still drink. I don't have abs, but in this costume.
Do me a favor and contrast this Batman with Adam West. Could there be more of a contrast? Like the doughiest white guy of all time, and then a ripped six-pack ab son of a bee. Look at that. That's just a regular dude.
Adam West was fucking too.
Oh, he was a poon hound.
Yeah. Oh my, look at this. He looks Chinese.
He does, yeah.
He's a Chinese Batman. Started a fucking virus.
God, it was easy to be a man back then. You just had to not be fat, and you were killing it.
Yeah, you're right. You could be doughy back then.
Be doughy, smoke cigarettes, drink all the whiskey you want, and you were good to go.
Yeah, let me have my glass of whole milk with dinner.
Yeah, my pack of cigarettes and my wife with a black eye. The American way. Burt Ward.
Yeah, I mean, he turned down Batman and Robin, Val Kilmer, to do The Saint.
Saint was cool.
Yeah,
Blind
I never saw
superhero.
it. No, wasn't that Daredevil?
Well, it's Daredevil, but I think he's blind in this Saint.
Is he?
He's not a superhero, but he's blind. He's like a blind secret agent.
Is he? I had no idea.
Isn't he blind?
He's blind in that Mira Sorvino movie. At first. You might be combining.
Shit, you're right. I'm combining. Never mind.
How many blind superheroes are we gonna have?
We got Stevie Wonder. We got Ray Charles. We got Daredevil.
By the way, here's my beef with Daredevil. They say he's blind, but then he's like beating up 8 guys at once because his other senses are heightened. It's like I don't think that's how it works. I think you'd be able to like smell a fart from the living room or something.
Right.
I don't think you're able to just beat up a whole crew of people.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my bone to pick with Daredevil.
You got a point. And he should be reading more Braille. Why is there no Braille in Daredevil? What's up with Braille, by the way? You ever do that?
Have I ever felt Braille?
Yeah.
No, I read.
Wow, as a goof. Like, let me see if I can read this little Bible scripture here written on the elevator. And it is just...
It's a tough life.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah, damn, that's how you have to learn.
Braille's great. You ever seen a book of Braille? It's just a book with all the buttons on it. You got to do that.
Damn.
Crazy.
You think blind people, you think they're good at fingering?
Oh, no doubt about it.
They're feeling the bumps. They're like, oh, this tells a story. Every vagina.
Yeah.
And the story is she's been with other men who have a very, very unholy disease.
Yeah, that's a lot of bumps.
In 1970, National Library Service put out a edition of Playboy in Braille.
Thank you.
Wow.
Bummer.
You're like, man, these are some sweet tits. This is great.
I read the articles.
Damn, dude.
Wow, that's very inclusive.
I love it. Oh, is our guest here? Yeah. All right, let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we got Hackman, Kilmer. They go in threes, they say, so we'll see who's next.
Damn.
Speaking of, here's our guest.
Hey!
Oh, we're rolling.
We are.
We come in.
Might be able to use this.
We want to give Val Kilmer a shout out before you got here.
We give him a little nod, yeah.
Don't worry. Hopefully he's all right.
Cool jacket, dude. You're looking good.
You know what? Let me tell you something. All you need is 3 motherfuckers. Let me tell you something. All you need are fucking 3 motherfuckers who could take over a country.
That's a good Randy Savage.
That's all you need. Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there's Jack Roy.
That's right.
Hey.
There you go.
Let me take
I think his real name is Jacob Cohen. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Jacob Cohen.
From Queens.
My name was Jacob Cohen. Then I changed to my dad.
And molested.
My father worked in vaudeville, and his name was Cohen, so I didn't want to use Cohen, so I...
Well, how the hell are you?
I'm good. It's great to be. Are you guys already drunk?
No, we saved you for that.
All right.
No pressure.
No pressure. I'm sorry I'm late.
It's all right.
Ah, you're fine.
It's a little bit, it's farther away than I thought, and
Who comes to this part of town?
it is,
Midtown. Very empty.
but I like your setup here. I feel like it's upgraded a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank
You actually, you were in the other studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the early guests. Thanks for doing it back. You were
Really?
slumming it back then. Yeah.
Was I one of the early guys?
You were one of the early
All I
guests.
do is give. Give.
Well,
Yeah, comedy. So you bang out a couple.
Yeah,
comedy,
that's right.
And then
And
you hit the
podcasts.
road, and they post them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sell tickets.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving, you never gave us a whiskey.
I did give you a whiskey.
Oh, yeah, you
It's at
did.
home, though. But you brought another one?
I brought
at the
brought
studio.
2.
Whoa.
So this is the new edition.
What's different about it?
Well, it's like each is a small, precious batch. instead of a small batch, I call it a precious batch because it all has to do with children.
Yeah.
Right? And
What I call Brad Williams.
but this is the night. So like there's regular strength and then there's empty nester strength. I bet you your parents can identify with the empty nester strength. They
got
miss
that
their
right.
boys. But no, so
Should we drink the empty nester?
Sure, whichever one you want.
It's
One's
strong.
higher proof.
Let's give us the higher.
Proof, but I know you probably need the lower proof. Right?
What's that supposed to
So
be?
wait a minute. So people that I was thinking about this on the ride over here. So like, are people that enjoy this podcast? Obviously, they're all types of people. Mm-hmm. But would you say that there are more people that love the juice, or more people that just love the two?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I'd say more comedy, but we also got a lot of alcoholics.
We got a lot of sober people. We got a big sober listenership too, but
Sober listenership too.
Yeah.
So all right. So do we have? So I think we go empty nesters.
Yeah.
Right.
are we going on the rocks straight up? What are you doing?
I'd love if you got a big rock. Oh,
You better believe it.
Yeah, you know, like sometimes you encounter these purists that are like,
It took them forever to get the water out of the thing.
Right.
Why would you put water near it?
but I believe it brings something out.
Here.
But here, let's. Nice, right? But I know you guys are rye guys, right?
Ooh, yeah, well, you better believe it.
Bourbon?
Yeah, this is a bourbon,
Oh, that smells really good, dude.
right?
Very nice.
So wait a minute. So you probably get so much, but you didn't try it when I sent it last time.
I did try it.
I have it at home on the cart, the bar cart.
I did try it. I enjoyed it.
All right, hit me, baby. Oh, I love a big old rock. So
I
Hunter
love a
Biden.
big rock.
Yeah.
I love them, man. What's your favorite whiskey cocktail, Jim?
I'm like, this is exactly how I like it.
All right.
I love high proof,
Oh, yeah.
and I like it with a big rock. And yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Look at that. I feel like Don Draper.
Right?
See, bourbon has a sweetness to it.
That's
which I
really
always
good.
like.
That's a good drink, dude.
Right? And so, yeah, there is something about.
Right. That is
Isn't it?
chill.
Because I want to talk to you guys about your journey with your rye, because
Yeah.
when you started it, as anyone who's listening who does partake, or maybe they listen because they partake too much,
Yeah.
there is an evolution. So what you loved about a drink at the beginning, or even a whiskey at the beginning, can evolve. So I like a much higher proof than when I started, even with Fathertime. I was very obsessed with wanting it to be smooth. Mm-hmm. That was just because I had tried celebrity brands, and so many of them were like, you're like, oh my God, there's a difference between it being strong and it being bad.
Yeah.
And so I wanted it smooth so that if someone is a casual drinker, that they could partake in, or if they're going to mix it, even though I think I like a high proof and just drinking it straight. But how about you guys? How has it shifted? Do you like a higher proof now than when you started, or?
I mean,
Good question.
It all depends on the flavor, really, to me. Like, if it's smooth, I'll do whatever. But I mean, yeah, I drink a lot of Manhattans. Like, that's kind of my post-show drink on the road. But if I'm doing straight up, I like everything. I like a peaty scotch. I like a sweet bourbon. I like everything. So.
Oh, yeah. But this is very good.
Oh, well, thank you.
It doesn't taste super high proof, which is a compliment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get those wild turkeys, and it's like a shot of gasoline, you know?
Yeah. No, it is. And so you'll do it after a show. You know what I find so amazing about bourbon or whiskey in general? Because I'm really kind of once the pandemic hit, that's what opened me up to whiskey and stuff, is I can have two. I mean, and if my tour manager was watching this, he might be like, you have more than two sometimes. But I'll have two and I'm good.
Yeah. Two's perfect.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas beers, you can be like, I'm on number 8 and I'm kind of getting a buzz.
Yeah.
But with two whiskeys, you can be good. Does that sound like the rationalization of a total drunk?
No,
Two is
very moderate.
We talk about this all the time with martinis. The famous quote, they're like tits, right? Two is the perfect. One's not enough. Three's too many.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But don't you have two and feel good, want another one? That's my problem.
Yeah, no, well, that definitely, but the good thing is if I'm at home or if I have to get up, I'm not going to do it.
You're right. Two's the move.
Are you an at-home?
Yeah.
You're an at-home drinker.
Yeah. I mean, that's the.
Does your wife drink with you or no?
Yes. But that's some of, and I know you're new to the game, but like,
Yeah.
and people that are watching or listening, it's like some of what started this was when you deal with teenagers, which is like dealing with mentally ill people, you need something to take that edge off. So like in the 50s, they were like, I had a hard day at work. And, when you have teenagers, you're like, I need a break.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm scared of that age.
Yeah. You'll be dead. Don't worry.
Woo! Thank God.
You have that first sip. There's something like that hits so nice. Like when you're stressed and you just have like a sip and you're I'm fucking.
It works.
I feel like things are going to be okay.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It does feel like there is the productivity, though, that I feel like sometimes can get in the way. Like there is some, particularly writing comedy, like if I would come home and I would feel inspired to write if, this is kind of like turning off the brain.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not like, let's have a couple of whiskeys and then we'll think of comedy. I'm kind of like, let's have a couple of whiskeys and fall asleep.
Right. Comedy's over. We did that part.
But it depends on the comics. I remember I'd be out with Jim Jeffries and I'd be like, oh, this guy's like writing at the bar. He'd be like telling a story and I could see him like picking up where the laughs were. And I was like, oh, this Jim writes
really?
drinking.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. I don't think he drinks.
He doesn't drink anymore. But but yeah, I picture you writing jokes at a computer, just like typing out. Like all your jokes feel like very organized.
I feel like I work 15 times harder. Like I do it the hardest way possible, which is I'll have an idea. Sometimes I'll improvise something on stage, but then I'll listen, kind of break it down, and then try and find angles around it, and then just chip away. Whereas occasionally something will come out fully formed or at 70%, but otherwise I feel like I'm just mining. I feel like I'm a coal miner.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Where are you throwing stuff at the wall? Because every time I see you, even at like Gotham, I'm like, fuck, that's like polished. That's like perfectly well done.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, I don't see you bomb ever.
I don't
You're
really see you
doing
bomb.
Oh,
So
no.
how do you not bomb?
Well, there is, I mean, as you guys know, there's moments that feel like bombing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then there's the, the jokes you pull up to kind of right the ship.
Right.
But there is, there's, sometimes it's throwing out ideas. And I feel like I've also been doing it so long where I know what'll kind of work. But for me, I think I can play on the road. If I'm doing an hour 10 and I'm doing in front of a home crowd, right? It's a home game. I can play a little bit if, they know my point of view.
Right. That's true.
There's a certain trust there, and I would never, just go on a rant for too long. But like if I'm feeling some give and take, I'll go with it. But otherwise, I don't know. Some of it is, like everything's a metaphor for me. So like some of it is gathering seeds, because I also garden. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's gathering
You're like the
seeds.
ultimate dad.
Yeah, I am. And so like gathering seeds, but like some of them take longer to germinate. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ain't that the truth?
And, like during those first 6 years, you're like, why isn't this working? I know this is funny.
Yes.
And now, like I got to put it away.
Yeah.
Either I haven't learned how to develop it or I haven't found the right angle on it.
Right.
Yes. It's like
Right.
beef jerky. You got to leave it for a while and then come back. But that's hard to do in the early years.
It's very hard.
Because you have
to
no
do in there.
material.
But of all these all these like Word docs of like, I never fucking figured that one out. It's like they're like cold cases or something.
Yes.
Well, I have so many Word docs of the same joke over and over again. Where I'll be like, all right, I worked on that for like a month, and just changing a certain approach to it, and it doesn't make any difference. But then you'll be on the subway, and you're like, oh yeah,
I got it.
right?
Yeah.
It's the best feeling.
You get a gift.
Yes.
You have to kind of kill your ego because you're like, it's got to be this way. And then one day you let it go long enough that you kind of fall out of love with it. And then you can see it clearly.
Yeah.
Finally.
And then there's the touring, which provides kind of the purity of it. Like I just did shows in Vancouver because I have a lot of material on bourbon and whiskey. Not a lot, but like, and, you know, when you do an international show, things might be slightly different, even though Canadians and Americans, obviously, there's a lot of overlap. But it's the shift of like, just, you know, Canadian whiskey is obviously a huge thing there. And then you add in the tariffs and you add in all this. So it's this thing where I'm like, oh, I can't work on this chunk the way I want to. Mm-hmm. But that also provides... you know, so instead of presenting the jokes as bourbon, I would present them as whiskey. And then that would lead me into, like, there's so much to learn also just on the topic of whiskey in general. For me, just because I was such a late bloomer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I remember you had a bit where you said you didn't drink.
Yeah.
I remember it's an old Gaffigan bit from like a Letterman set. And I remember you're like, I love the joke. You're like, it's hard to get a woman... you know, to drink on a date. Yes. When you don't drink, you're like, oh, the water. And the lady will have a shot of Jaeger. Yeah. I love that bit.
Perfect liquor choice in that bit.
Yeah. So, no, it's weird.
Yeah, the mining. Do you ever have a thing where I feel like I'm bombing for weeks, and then one day you do your act, and you're like, oh, I have like 9 new minutes. It's because it was gradual. You weren't noticing how much
Mark is
progress you were making.
You're great at staying with bits, though. Like
I'll stay with a bit.
He'll stay with a bit. I'll be like, if it's not pulling its weight, I'll dump it and I'll look back in like a month or two with fresh eyes. But like, there's only so long you can give it if it's dragging down the whole set. It's like sports. It's like that. This guy's not pulling its weight.
Yeah,
down the
right.
League.
It's just the team isn't working in that order.
Yes,
that's what's so crazy. I shifted the order of my hour right now, and this joke that used to really it was a kind of a segue chunk, you know, after I get done with a chunk, I kind of segue into another one, and it used to kill, and I moved this whole chunk back, and now it's kind of like,
interesting.
Just because of when it arrives, and it adjusts things. So like moving, as you guys know, moving the order changes everything.
Huge.
I mean, I do think that at the beginning, it should be autobiographical a little. I mean, this is just what I know.
Out of the gate in an hour, you're saying?
I think it has to be a little. I mean, Seinfeld hates this stuff, but like I'm a very observational guy, right? But I believe that you have to be. You have to give some autobiographical, some intimacy. I have a larger theory. I believe that like because of reality shows, there is a certain price of entry that we live in such a voyeuristic and exhibitionist culture today versus say the 90s or the 80s. So if you look in the 80s or the 90s, Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock, people they knew their points of view, obviously very different, but the Chris Rock of 2005 or 2015 or 2020, people need to know he has to do something
personal,
biographical.
Well, Tangerine is so different than like Never Scared. Like, Chris started mining this
the divorce.
The divorce stuff's the most interesting stuff in that hour to me. Too. Like I love that stuff.
You know, and Seinfeld, you know, it used to be like a joke about this, a joke about that, and now there is, and it varies on the autobiographical, but I think because of reality shows, there has to be a certain amount. I mean, by the way, it's like podcasts reveal, a lot of intimate details indirectly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like people that come to your shows, and by the way, here are the shows listed. Here's where Mark's going, and here's where Sam's going. That people are like, because they listen to this podcast, it'll inform their experience of watching the show.
Well, yeah, I get a million. You get these audience members like, when you talked about OCD, that hit home, and that's why I became a fan. And I told my friend with OCD. So yeah, some people just want. I used to think like the relatable stuff was what people wanted. Oh, I know what it's like to fiddle with shoelaces. Oh, that guy's my guy now. But I think it is the you talked about growing up in the South. I'm from the South. Yeah. That feels like it's what grabs people, the family stuff. Yeah. Like when Louis started talking about his baby that he hated, I think that's when he blew up.
Yeah. No, I think there is. It's weird. It's weird because I believe that some of it is there is the emotion, but I'm also a big believer in substance. It has to be substance. Obviously, you guys are both substance guys.
But what does that mean, substance?
That means where it's also kind of
has to mean something.
Style versus substance. Now, it used to be like Stephen Wright is absolute. He's so substance. That's his style. Yeah. Right.
Oh, interesting.
So, an example of someone whose style is they do an hour, the crowd's killing, but if you ask the crowd, tell me one of his or her jokes, they'd be like, or if the substance is the joke, it's the the craftsmanship.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now I get it. I thought you meant they had some kind of weighty, like the meaning of life kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think it has to be
poignant.
It doesn't have to be poignant.
No,
it just has to be. There has to be some.
You can have both too. Those are the best.
You have
guys.
to you have to have a little bit.
It's weird when a comic would force trying to be poignant when they'd be doing like just like racist street jokes and they'd be like, "But guys, we got to get along though. We got to.
That's the whole thing.
We got to get together. You know,
you can see
these Asian people. But guys, it's all.
But as you know, I'm just joking. I think we should all get along, right? And so, like, some of those people are really likable people. And they can do the dose of divide and then a little bit of a hug. And because they're so likable, people are like, that hug was so good. I forgot that your entire act is just misogyny.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, a lot of those style guys, they tend to not do stand-up forever, and I feel like they can go into like interviewing or a game show or something like that because the substance is so much work. And if you can just get hot off style, like a Belzer. I think he was all style.
Yeah.
And then now he's on, Law and Order for 50 years.
But you're right. But like that's because you're all style. It lends to like good characters or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and I'm not taking it away from the guy.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
No, he's great on Law and Order.
You're better off as an actor.
And by
something.
the way, he was, not that I'm an expert on it, but he was really like a definitive New York Comedy Club character.
Staple.
He was, and
a very smart guy. If you hear him in interviews and stuff, like very smart.
All right, what were you gonna say there?
Oh, I mean, I'm just thinking about what Jim said about like being personal versus like this mystique. But like I'm thinking about like because you're kind of like an in between eras guy because you haven't been doing it as long as Jerry, but like you were doing stand up in the 90s. So you're a guy. I feel like you kind of made a name for yourself off the observational humor, and then you kind of adapted, and I think like Mr. Universe, that's like such a personal special.
Oh yeah.
You have all these like families. So I think like it's interesting because you kind of bridge the gap a little bit where like I think of when you blew up and it was like the voice, like, oh shit, no one had done the audience voice.
Yeah.
And then
brilliant.
And then I think of the Hot Pockets bit and all these observational bits that blew you up. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's not personal.
It is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you did the bacon bit on, like, I remember all these bits on Letterman, like, oh, these are just, like, I feel like Mark and I almost got the idea of comedy, like, oh, we can just be observational because guys like you were doing that. And I think comedy did change a little bit where they want more.
I think you're right. But could Carlin work today? Carlin is zero personal. Zero.
Well, he is, I mean, not to nerd out too much. But
nerd out, baby.
He is, there's prototypes or buckets, right? And first of all, he is a truth teller, right? He is a truth teller. And some would believe that the problem of today is that our truth tellers are not challenging authority. Whereas like Carlin would be on, someone would be interviewing for him for his book, and it would be a political show, and he'd be like, this whole political system's bullshit.
Right.
And they would be like, and so like the whole thing is like there are certain prototypes. Like this is what I've in talking to comedians over the years. Like I think there's the preacher, right? Chris Rock is a preacher. Who else is a preacher?
Kinnison was definitely was an actual preacher.
Kinnison was a preacher, and again, this doesn't have to be, but like some of it is that's a performance style.
Yeah.
Then there's the clown. Howie Mandel's obviously that prototype, and Mark Cohen.
Right.
It's like playful, joyful. You know what I mean? And
you know the Mark Cohn joke where he said a cop knocked on my door.
That's my favorite joke.
A cop knocked on my door. He goes, "We're looking for a rapist." He goes, "I'll see what I can do." It's a great joke.
So
and
perfect.
Mark is so sweet. It's like,
Great guy.
yeah. And so, but like there's the observational guys, and then there's kind of like the like some of it is the professional bombers, the train wrecks, which are kind of have the spirit of, even though he was a jokesmith, right?
Rodney.
Looking at Rodney is like, and he like was next level. You know, what he was communicating in these one-liners, was just, it transcended.
Yes.
In a strange way, because like in my belief, his demographic reach was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So like he got everyone. He got the Borscht Belt audience. He got the
married audience,
the blue collared guys.
He got the kids who were like, "This is like my grandpa."
He got the 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And he got the comedy nerds.
Yeah.
That's very rare.
So wait, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Could Carlin work? Because it was all basically social commentary and some observational sprinkled in.
But he did the absurdist one-liner.
He did the absurdist
He had
too.
phases.
He went through phases.
That's true. He
but
kind of
I
did every
think-
discipline.
Yeah, I think that he would have, he would have faced a lot of criticism, like he was facing, even like his last special. I mean that his chunk on suicide is like one of my favorite things ever.
Mark and I talk about It's Bad For You all the time, because I think the one before, Life Is Worth Losing, was kind of like a miss for him.
Yeah.
But then It's Bad For You, you're like, damn, this is a great special.
Yeah.
Old guy still got it. And he was fun because you watch Twitter and it's like the right will claim him when he's like, "These pussies, you can't say anything now." And then the left will claim him like, "Abortion, what are we doing? We got to make it legal." And that's a real comic when like every side is fighting for you.
Yeah. And so, I think it would work. I think there would be a lot of criticism. He would go
Oh, yeah.
in and out of favor.
He would have been great on podcasts, though, because if you see him in interviews, he's fucking hilarious. It wasn't just the written stuff where he was funny. He was so quick.
And he was so thoughtful. He had an opinion on every goddamn subject out there.
Yeah, I remember at the original Improv, which was on 44th Street. This was probably in, when I started in 91, yeah, I know. What year were you born? So like you would go to it was down to like, because the comedy collapse had happened, it was down to the Improv and the Strip. Stand Up New York was still kind of boutique-y, kind of like, and the Cellar was like, the Cellar you couldn't get in. Stand Up New York you couldn't get in. You could either get in the Improv.
You mean just like they wouldn't book you at the time?
Well, they weren't embracing, they didn't need new people. So like in the 80s when stand-up comedy became a joke on The Simpsons,
Right,
of how bad it was.
Brick wall.
They did not need anyone at the Comedy Cellar. It was still the goal. The Comedy Cellar was still the goal. Mm-hmm. Stand Up New York was much more of a curated kind of Upper West Side New Yorkers, where it was like the New Yorkers that would go. But it was, and some of this is just my perspective, so I might have it wrong. So like there was the original Improv and the comic strip. And the original Improv was run by Silver Friedman, Bud Friedman's ex-wife, and the comic strip was run by Lucian Holt.
Yeah.
We've heard so many
both of
stories
them-
about Lucian.
And both of them were kind of power corrupts. You know what I mean? So like there was, you hear about these kind of, now they weren't, predatory, not that I know of. They weren't highly abusive, but it was,
that was just the
some
comics.
psychological manipulation that they could justify that would not exist today.
Right.
So like at the original improv, if you were passed or you were given an okay, even before you auditioned, you were encouraged to sit and watch every night.
Wow.
So
That's
I would
brutal.
sit and I would
It's the
watch.
punishment.
And
Community service.
And so you would watch, some good comics.
Do you remember who you watched? You were like, this guy's good?
Dave Attell.
Yeah.
Quinn.
Brett Butler.
Wow.
Colin was kind of out of it for a little bit.
Really?
Colin, when I first started, like, there was no Jon Stewart, there was no Colin Quinn. I think he had kind of like, he was on MTV and he was kind of doing
Oh, right.
he was in a different, like, he and Jon Stewart were employed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so,
But Stewart you see in the clubs.
I wouldn't see Jon Stewart.
Not even later? He was kind of just
He
done?
was on Larry Sanders.
I never really saw, so like he was beyond Larry, he was kind of at a whole other level. Like he was talk show after talk show host.
A darling.
And so, but you would go and hang out at the original improv, and I would go and I would hang out there. And you know who was? Andy Engel was there.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Who else was there?
That guy was a poisonous character.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
He was kind of everywhere, right? And so, but like hang out at the original improv, which had all this history, which
Sure.
would still get some people, but like Silver, like didn't know how to get people there the way Bud did, or maybe it was just such a comedy recession that it was just no one could have done it. Whereas Lucian kind of he would paper the room.
Got it.
And so,
Which means like free tickets to people that don't know the
and
term.
so the comic strip ended up being very observational, joke, kind of the kind of Seinfeld jokes, kind of like the remnants of the 80s. Whereas Silver, who was an artist, she was a former dancer, and the original improv had this spirit of being much more of
Broadway?
Gilbert, Andy Kaufman, like it started as much more of that coffee house kind of, there would be different types of people doing different things. So it was, she embraced more organic, autobiographical Brett Butler. Like Brett Butler, I'm sure she's still alive. Maybe she isn't. I don't know. She was an amazing comedian.
Really? I've never seen
Amazing.
1 minute of her stand up.
She was amazing. And I would watch her and she would come in and destroy.
Wow.
And so she's
around. She was just acted in something. She was in something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Her TV show was fun.
Yeah. And so so I was hanging out at the Improv, and and again, I don't think I was even passed. I think I passed and it closed after I'd invested a couple years.
That would happen a lot.
That's
back in the
comedy,
day.
baby.
And but George Carlin came in.
Don't miss out on sales just because your online checkout sucks. Switch to Shopify and turn browsers into buyers. Shopify is the #1 checkout on the planet. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%. Your business will be booming in no time. Shopify is great. If you don't know, get on it now, guys. No more checkout systems that make you jump through tons of hoops. With Shopify, it's so easy for your customers to love something and buy it immediately. You can even make sales anywhere. Shopify works in your store, on your website, and on social media. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Heinz uses. Sign up for the $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/drunk, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/drunk to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/drunk.
And he did a set. It was her anniversary. She called in, it wasn't her, it was some anniversary. She called in a favor. He was in the area.
Was there a crowd, I hope?
Yes, there was a crowd. And
Did word get out that he was going to be there?
Again, it was 93. I know there was an audience, but I remember watching him backstage, and he had all his jokes written out, underlined in different colors, And maybe he was at a certain point in his development of that hour.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, oh, this guy does his homework.
Yes.
And he was like looking at things, and I'm trying to like not be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it was pretty amazing. Then he went on stage. He, obviously, did great. But, I would see Kevin Brennan kill up there.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean, Kevin Brennan was a gun.
Great jokes.
And Louis was always doing something interesting, but like Attell was just like his on base percentage was insane.
Yes.
He was Ichiro, man. Just every time. Just
Still is.
Shortest swing in the game,
Yeah.
man. Just
Yeah.
it was unreal. It's unreal. He's still unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's just
But you have that. I
just
see.
in the bones.
You do my show all the time at New York Comedy Club, and I see you with the notebook, the binder, and you're right before you go on, you're doing like just a couple of more checks. Okay, what's that new line?
I was thinking
And
the
then boom.
same thing. You seem so disciplined. I mean, I've talked to Ryan Hamilton about you because he had done some dates with you and Seinfeld together, and I was like, I'm a nerd about this, so I'm like, what's the routine? What do Jim and Jerry do show day? And he said, Jerry and I usually see a movie. Jim gets to the venue early and is doing his notes.
Yeah. I mean, those Jerry shows were great because there is a lot of value in having fun, constructive fun. Because when you do the shows with Jerry, you have breakfast, then you go to a movie, then you sometimes get lunch, then you go for a walk. And I'm like,
Ooh, I love it.
like when I travel, because, I like to think it's because I am a parent, but like I'm catching up on sleep and I'm writing. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes in New York and sometimes I'm dealing with phone calls. I mean, as we all know, it's like, you're like, oh, I got nothing to do that day. And then that day fills with stuff.
Every time.
But yeah, Jerry, I think, has a different approach. But yeah, I like to go to the theater.
But he's still writing, it seems, all the time, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's all regimented. He's got his workout schedule, his writing schedule.
Yeah. But he is also like, he doesn't. And, there's different theories on this where he doesn't record his set. And I've talked to other people. He doesn't record it.
Sanity.
And he.
So easy to
because he
record a
makes
set,
point,
too.
He makes a point of remembering.
Gee.
And I've heard this from other comics. It's like, well, you should remember that line. It should be that important. And some of it is like, maybe I've just destroyed as I sit around all these bottles of alcohol. But like,
your recall?
My short-term memory is not great.
Sure.
Yeah, but also,
sure.
like, it's not just the joke, it's the tone of the joke. And also, listening back to the joke is usually how I start writing. I have to listen to the set, and then I get in my comedic rhythm.
Goldman said the same thing.
Goldman's the one who used to talk to me about that all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel like Gary really has a process too. And it's because I have this 13-year-old who's really into basketball, and he's kind of starting. It's like all of it, like athletics and process of comedy. It's like you make it so you have the best opportunity in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the process of writing allows you to be in the best position for when the joke arrives.
Yeah.
And the process of preparing for a game is so that when it is your time to take the shot, you're not nervous because you've been working on your form shooting anyway.
Yeah, I never get these comics who are just like, they just tell the same jokes over and over, or their career kind of stays the same, and they're like, what do I got to do? And I'm like, you got to write. And they're like, I write on stage.
Yeah, but the problem is the culture of a lot of these New York clubs, not to throw shade here, is to kill. And when the culture is to kill for...
Then it's like, why risk it?
Why?
But you can finesse. You can do a couple in the middle and make it work.
But that takes a muscle.
But you got to learn that muscle.
And sometimes you get on, and what if the audience is not great?
Well, there's that too.
These people are protecting their rent checks, and it gets to a point where then that becomes your life. Those spot pay spots, as opposed to like the grander goal of turning out material, which is when Mark and I were coming up, we watched guys like you or Louis or people turned over the jokes, and to us that was the move. But it is scary when you're new at the Cellar or one of those clubs.
I get it.
And all of a sudden you're like, I got no spots? What the fuck? I've been killing. And then you're like, oh, this is arbitrary. This is meaningless. Like, you have to do it for you and not for the spots. You know?
I think there's a way to teeter both sides. Get the new out and still kill. That is a muscle.
But it's a skill, as Jim is saying.
But I think every guy's going to learn, just like you learn the skill of stand-up. That's part of stand-up. That's a tool on the belt, I think.
Yeah, I think we just get comfortable, you know.
Yeah, that too. And writing is hard. It's hard to sit down and do the fucking work and have the discipline.
And also, what works, you know, for 6 months, suddenly that becomes stale. So you have to mix it up, and you're like, oh, I go on the subway, and I always think of a line. It's like, no, that worked one time. Then you have to sit there and
this is my lucky car right here.
But there is something about, I believe that environment. I mean, I'm such a nerd about this. I believe environment is a key contributor to your ability to write. So I believe a little bit of a home team helps. So like they know your point of view, they're rooting for you. That's why if you go to LA, it's like those LA comics in Largo. It's like Moses going on stage,
right?
Because they know him.
Yeah,
they know him beyond the name. They know the point of view. They've developed a relationship. But I also think that
could be a curse too.
The shape of the room, like I think the Cellar is beyond a doubt one of the best comedy clubs or the most important comedy clubs in America. But I think if people are walking by, that's not good.
I agree.
That's great for interactive. That's great for developing short jokes. That's great for certain things. But like a stage, like even Eastville, New York Comedy Club, that's a great setting for a little bit of both. But I think like Gotham or the old Carolines was presentational. And the thing about presentational is that I believe stand-up is some of it, it's like, it's a question of like the value of crowd work. Like I think it's definitely a skill. I think that it is also in some ways a waste of time.
Sure.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And
it's like sugar. It's like, it's fun, but it's not, I need real food.
No nutritional value.
It's there kind of like, all right, for dessert, it's fine. At the end, it's fine. But you need a base. You need real food.
Yeah.
And the material is the real food.
Yeah, no one's quoting Chris Rock's crowd work from 10 years ago.
Right.
They're quoting the great bit.
Yeah.
And you're someone who clearly labors over chunks. I mean, like when I think of chunks, like you brought up Goldman. Goldman's great at chunks. Like,
great chunk.
And it's a skill to keep the ball in the air, so to speak. Like you're really good at that. I mean, that's when you're building bits like that, are you flooded with ideas, or is it like this is brick by brick? I had one thought on bacon, and now it's, or like how does that process work?
I mean, it's some of it's brick by brick. But it also is, that's the other balance, is like how long do you hold on to a topic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and I debate this with Jerry, because Jerry's like, why are you in a rush? Which is a very intelligent, because some of Jerry's longer jokes, the reason they're so long is because he had
10 years old.
He had this chapter with it. Then he put it away, and then he brings it back, and he can add 2 more sections to that chunk, which makes it so brilliant. What I learned in doing the bacon jokes is if you get long enough on a topic and you're not reintroducing the topic, you can throw in a B or a C level joke in the middle of this A chunk, and it gets longer and longer. So like the kind of like that's a cute observation can slide in. And I'm not talking about like it being filler, but it's, there's a different purpose.
Well, points for keeping it going too is like, I think the crowd's like, holy shit, he's still, I remember when I saw it on Letterman, when you did that bit, and you go, you can't tell me Kevin Bacon's success has not, like his name is.
You got that in there.
Like you got that. I was like, oh my God, he's just going to keep going. Like it was a thing. I think we were watching with my family, and everyone was laughing. So they're like, holy shit, he's just still going on one subject.
Your bit about the password strength on the internet, we won't get into it. I know it's probably, is that on anything yet? Is that still
that's on the Hulu.
Okay.
the skinny.
That bit, I watched you work that out at Gotham, and I could see people hitting each other going, I know what you mean. Oh, it is weak. Oh, yeah. That, to me, that's when it's when it's a magic show. Like, everybody's on board. But if you go, what is that, your mom? I thought you were fucking her. You're like, who gives a fuck? That doesn't, it's quick for 4 seconds. But
it's
that
awkwardness.
password thing, that hits home. And you're like, it brings everybody together in a weird way.
Yeah, and I agree. There is a place for crowd work, but it's like, it's bonus. It's not the main thing. I think
Get the clip and move on.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think also it's bad training for the audience. If they get a taste for it, they're like, aren't you going to talk to And when I say me, they mean the entire audience. So you don't have to talk to me, but talk to someone.
Right.
We know these rooms too. There's rooms like I remember playing like Governors. And I'm like, oh, they're just gonna talk the whole time.
Yeah.
They just talk at the table. I'm like, I'm here. Like I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I know.
Those are always the weird ones too, where you're like, oh, you didn't. They're having dinner and you're just there.
Yeah.
Those are the weird gigs.
Yeah, they're fascinating. I mean, it's
fascinating.
it is so fascinating.
It's a show.
Yeah.
Shut the
Didn't
fuck
the
up.
woman just start a conversation with you while you were on stage last week?
She kept heckling me, and I had to do one of these where you're like, you play with it at first, you get a couple laughs out of it, and then you're like, I got to get back to my act.
Yeah.
But you can feel her sitting there, and you know she's going to say something again, so you can't focus because you just don't know when she's going to yell out.
The worst.
And then eventually she yelled out again, and I was like, can we do something here? And then the guy throws her out, which is so fucking annoying because I think.
Then you look like the tattletale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The crowd work makes people think like, oh, I'll yell, and the poor security guy's like, is this a crowd work moment or is this a disruption?
She was probably drunk, and in her logic, she thought she was helping.
Yeah, it was my wife.
But it's like it's also different when you're doing an hour 20 or whatever on the road versus those 15-minute club sets where you're like, I need to figure out a joke here.
Yeah.
But if I have
totally.
an hour 20, I'll indulge it if it's a long set.
Sure.
But when it's those short sets, you're like, also, it can change the energy of the room for the next comic. Crowd work on those short sets can be annoying.
Yeah. It's a precious amount of time, but
I remember when there used to be a big thing where I don't think it happens anymore, but this is like in the 90s, there would be people that would go on stage and bring a drink. They would go on stage with a drink, and they would be like, and maybe people do it now.
I do that.
Like, but in some ways, it's like you can't go 15 minutes. But it used to be more of like people would go on stage, and during the set, they would smoke a cigarette. And by the way, I did that. I would smoke.
You smoke cigarettes?
I smoked cigarettes. But like some of that's your character.
That's
Am I doing a cig hail? What is that?
I'm talking about.
Oh, you're showing that I'm holding a drink.
like literal, I need a cocktail.
Literally a taping.
I'm not talking about like this is a celebration. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like I need a sip of water to because I'm going to be working so hard for 7 minutes. I'm not talking about because Ron White historically would drink like a fifth. You know what I mean?
Tequila.
It's like that's fine, even though obviously that's probably not fine to drink that much. But like I'm talking about like the people that are like I can't get through this set without a sip of my water. Now, if you're like having a drink and you're like it's a part of a party atmosphere on Saturday night. That's different. I'm talking about like you can't get through like I need a sip of my drink. It's like it's a 15-minute set.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, but back to keeping the ball in the air.
Yeah.
You know who's the king of that no one talks about is Regan. Regan could mine a premise for everything it was worth and beat it out like he was every part of the buffalo, and it's incredible to watch. That bit about him trying to weigh his package, and the guy's like, step on the scale with the package. Now he's like, now I can't see the numbers. I mean, it's so long, and every inch of it is flawless.
Yeah, no, Regan, unbelievable. I mean, when I started, I think that like there was these awards. Like I remember I was opening, I took Amtrak. I thought I would take Amtrak to Buffalo one week, and then I would take Amtrak from Buffalo to Cleveland.
What are you, homeless? Jeez.
I've done those.
Like
I used to do
14
that.
hours. It was like,
I used to do that all the time.
it was just so brutal. And then I'm just bombing the entire time. And so like, and then I think like I had been recommended by the DC Improv, and someone was like, "Why would the DC Improv?" Like the manager literally said, "Why would the DC Improv recommend you?" And I was like, "I don't know." But I remember in Cleveland there used to be these different comedy magazines, and I saw that the American Comedy Award that Regan, because you used to only be able to win it once, and he won it twice. Like,
I didn't even know this
good.
existed.
I didn't either.
This was back in the 90s, you know.
Interesting.
This was it wasn't even newspaper, it was tablet. No.
You started with Geraldo. You were tight with Geraldo, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to be Regan, and you wanted to be Attell, I heard.
Yes.
And then it flopped.
Yes.
Flip-flopped.
It totally flip-flopped. And when we met, we were both, I was an account manager in an advertising agency, and he was a lawyer. He was at some highfalutin law firm. And so we were the only people. It was at Sweetwater's, which was on 2nd Avenue or 1st Avenue or Lexington and 53rd. It was upstairs. But it was, now I'm blanking, but like, I met him, and you know, it was like, I was like, he thought I was funny, and I thought he was funny, and
early on when you meet someone who you're like fucking good, you're like, oh my, you like grab onto them, like a fucking like a life,
absolutely,
like a life raft.
Pre-internet, so it's not like you have this community online where you can talk to somebody. This is like, I need a guy, I'm lonely.
Yeah, and that was like. That wasn't like, hey, let me get your cell phone number. It was like, where are you going next?
Yeah.
And so, like,
were you hitting the mics with him?
So, like, eventually, Geraldo, because Geraldo was so engaging. I mean, so funny, but so engaging. Like, people immediately liked him.
Right.
So he was from Queens, so he could do the city and Long Island, right? And so I would meet him in Long Island. And so sometimes I would take the Long Island Railroad to do Chuckles and to do or Governors, and he was the only reason I would get on, because he could communicate, because I was like this blonde guy in khakis, you know, like they're like, who's this?
Right.
And so I was not like, I was like I remember like I was a college guy, a guy who went to college. Like, it was so absurd. And now it's like a very upper middle class occupation.
Yeah.
I would say. But back then it was like, it was
rough and tumble.
It was, you know, like, it would just be weird if it was, you know, like, there were intellectual comics, but like no one liked them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you
Does
mean.
that make sense?
Yeah. Like,
Sure.
I feel like Dennis Miller on Monday Night Football was like a punchline because of the words he was using. You know, you're like, But did you like really? Who did late night first? You or Greg? Do you remember?
Oh, Greg did everything first. I mean, well, Greg and I both. So there was the most prestigious show besides Letterman or the Tonight Show was Caroline's Comedy Hour. So like that was the one that was approachable. They would do. So like Colin hosted that, and then, well, you know, again, Colin was so big that like he would just host Caroline's, right? And he would, but like, so then there was a new season where it was going to be Richard Jenny was the host, and they were looking for, they wanted to get a couple new comics. And so Geraldo and I both auditioned, both got it by, and so that was like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Yeah.
And so then he got managed by Caroline's. They wanted to manage him.
Does that mean that Caroline Hirsch is your manager?
No,
or Luke
she was
Rand?
starting. That was the preeminent club, and so she was starting a management company. So she hired managers, and Greg was one of their first clients. And because of Caroline, they had such incredible connections. So like they had influence in who could go to Montreal. Obviously, Greg got Montreal on his own, but like then Greg got Montreal. And
Is Montreal dead right now? Is that festival?
Yeah.
It is coming back, I heard.
It is.
A new guy bought it.
Like herpes.
Yeah, right. Can't get rid of it.
But so he got Montreal, and then and he got an agent. So he was like blowing up even before he got to Montreal, and that was when Montreal there were development deals, $500,000.
Oh, yeah.
$300,000, and
You seem like you're tailor made for like a sitcom back in the day.
well, and so, but you know what I think is also, you'll get a kick out of this. So at that Caroline's taping, a comedian came down from Canada who was, she was really funny, and she was like, and it was Bonnie McFarlane.
Oh wow.
And so Bonnie, and then Ian Bagg came down later from Canada, but like that was, so I remember like Bonnie, like everyone was in love with Bonnie. Bonnie were like, oh my God.
Cute, great jokes,
Yeah.
dark.
And she's still beautiful. Like
Yeah, she
Bonnie
looks
looks
great.
the same
I
as
know.
she did like 25 years ago.
And so dry and sarcastic.
Yeah, so funny, and just like she knew exactly who she was. It was pretty impressive.
The Rich Voss thing is still confusing.
It's like,
It's fascinating.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. But also comedy, when I started, I was doing the alt world. That still was kind of the remnants of that were still there. And they had all these clubs that you were doing, but comedy was still kind of underground, niche.
Mark and I kind of met in the middle. Mark
Yeah.
was kind of more in the alt, and I was more of a clubby. And like we started hanging out, and then Mark would come to the strip with me, and we would like.
Yeah.
But you were interesting because you
There's
were
nothing there.
well. You
It's a
also,
ghost land.
but you started. Like, there's not a lot of comics who have like steady acting careers. You've been in so much stuff. If you look, if we pull up his IMDb page, it's probably insane.
that too, yeah.
I remember you were on like that '70s show.
Yeah.
I mean, you were on.
Yeah, Super Troopers.
Well, some of it is, I love acting. It's like I always thought that I would be able to like create this acting career that would, but it's like, I don't know, like how many times I've done these indies and I'm so grateful, and then they'll go to Sundance and I'll be like I went to Sundance like 4 years in a row, and I was like, I am set.
Yeah.
I never have to audition again, and then I don't get an acting role for like 2 years.
Because you turned down Harvey.
No, but like some of it is like, it's, you don't have.
Which is the one that you thought was going to be the biggest that just didn't blow up?
I thought that, well, there's, I mean, it's like which year, like there's, like I did this movie, Eugene the Marine, that is really great. It's a really artistic thing. It's got all these amazing people in it. And like pull up Eugene the Marine, because like that one I thought that it would definitely be awards bait. It's about this guy played by now I can't even see that far, but yeah, Scott Glenn.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Still
Scott
ripped, by the way.
Glenn,
He's like 80. Shredded.
He's
true.
like 83, shredded, like doing push-ups in between takes, and he's playing this 80-year-old, and it's kind of this horror film, kind of an homage to the giallo Italian types of film. And I thought, oh, this will definitely go to Sundance,
Right.
or
Can.
or Cannes, or even Toronto. And some of it didn't. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't understand it. It's like Scott Glenn, I haven't watched White Lotus. I think he's on White Lotus. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
this is like,
He's the dad.
one of these things where you're like, I can't understand that. But then like there's American Dreamer, where I thought for sure that would go
Yeah, you're
somewhere.
great in that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Linoleum, I thought for sure that would go somewhere. And these directors,
You're good at being scary in movies.
thanks.
It's shocking because it's just like, oh shit, he's not.
but all
that was a
these
dark
great
movie.
directors, and
Yeah.
and then I did Peter Pan, where I played Mr. Smee, and that was David Lowery. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, right.
No one saw it, and I'm like, all right, but that's all right.
Is it true, speaking of acting, you got your own show? I remember that was a big deal. You had a lot of comics on it, and then you pulled the plug.
Yeah, that was because we kind of created a really impossible situation where it was autobiographical.
Yep.
The shows were written by my wife and I. Obviously, we had some help from people, and I was portraying myself, and we had 5 young kids. So like, imagine like both, and there are plenty of couples where both spouses work.
Yeah.
But like, we're working like 16-hour days, and it's like, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is, we can pull this off, but like, if you want to do it right, and it's like, it's not like I'm some great dad, I travel too much too, but like, at least one parent's there.
Right.
Whereas opposed to us both being gone, and we're in the city, and then you have, your kid's so young, but you'll have these babysitters, and you'll be like, okay, they're good, but like, they're pouring sugar on toast as breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, as much as I think she's a great grandmotherly figure, she shouldn't be feeding our children breakfast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was kind of that. That's what's weird also is the appeal. If either of you were given an opportunity for a TV show, you would make less money.
That's the other
weird.
thing.
It's a weird.
Isn't that amazing?
It's a weird state of the industry.
And by the way, more people would see you
in
a Netflix special or a special on Hulu or Amazon or whatever, or YouTube even, than a TV show on one of the great streamers. And there's a lot of great streaming platforms, but like, I saw an ad for, I saw Billy Bob Thornton do this incredible speech. And I was like, what movie is that from? And it's from some TV show, Landman.
Yo, it's good.
And I'm like, I've never even heard of that. And I'm not like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, I know what's going on. I'm like, and it's like John
It's a big
Hamm's
show.
in it.
Yeah.
It's like
Taylor Sheridan.
there's too many shows. Like,
Right.
but like, how many of the Taylor Sheridan shows have you watched?
Just like the first season of Yellowstone.
That's because you're gay. If you're a real man, you would have watched all of them.
He wrote so many good movies, like
Hell or
High
High Water.
Water, Wind River, all these. Like he had Sicario is great.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, he has I think he
shit.
wrote Prisoners too. He wrote like he had a run of like crazy.
What a talent.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how he does all that.
I don't
It's a
either.
lot, right?
That's
He's got like a
insane.
$600 million ranch in Texas
I bet. Jesus. Well,
that
yeah.
he shoots on and uses as a
Yeah,
write-off.
but is he happy? Yeah, no, he's thrilled. Thrilled. Yeah, but is he really happy? No, he's really happy.
He's very happy.
Creatively fulfilled, a billionaire. I think he's doing all right.
You always got to find a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you know what?
You're in so much shit. I was watching TV the other day, and it was just like a movie with Alec Baldwin and Salma Hayek, and I was like, holy shit, that's Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, yeah.
You just like popped up. You pop up in so many things.
Yeah, I love working. It's fun,
Same.
right?
Yeah.
It's fun.
I like it.
Just trying to get my dad to like me.
Yeah. But that's the question. Back in the day, everybody watched one show. You know, the whole country got together and watched one show or one Letterman or one whatever. Now we have a million splintered avenues. Is that better or is that worse? Because Landman's a good show and no one's heard of it. No one's seen
people
it.
are watching that.
People are watching, but he's in the business.
I know, but it's renewed.
That's true.
Sometimes it takes shows a couple seasons to get an audience.
Is it Apple?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't even know what stream.
Exactly.
I didn't. I saw a couple clips because
Every now and then you get a White Lotus, which is like taking over the zeitgeist. You get a Squid Game. You get that one show that somehow punches Breaking Bads and all those types. I mean, that's older, but like, it's hard to get that breakout
I can't
show
get into
now.
White Lotus. I understand that he's a good writer, but I don't think it's something about it that doesn't hit for me. Like everyone's like, this fucking
I love
insane.
it.
This monologue by Sam Rockwell, and I'm like, he just likes fucking Asians.
Yeah,
that's
that
the
was-
monologue.
that-
People were praising this as like the greatest monologue ever, and he's like, I love Asian shit.
But I think it is so bizarre how some of it is like, I think Mike White does have a touch for what the zeitgeist.
Yes.
Totally,
Like-
clearly, I'm the odd one
Brilliant.
out. I'm just saying, it's like almost like vacation porn meets like murder. He's gotten all the things that
rich people being
Yeah.
like
Annoying.
No, rich people are bad. We all know rich people are bad. Like I'm
we
not
like
like
watching
that,
them.
but I know someone like that. So
Yes.
the rich people like it.
Then they had that Trump conversation with the two liberal people. That's very interesting because that's happening, and you don't see that on TV. That happens all
No,
the time, and that's a huge part of our country, and no one brings it up.
I acknowledge that it's interesting. I even read a profile on him in the New Yorker, and I was like, wow, he sounds like a really interesting man. Like he just has he's like an interesting dude. You know, I didn't know he was on The Amazing Race with his dad.
Yeah.
They're both gay dudes. There's like so many things going
wow.
on, and he's been around.
Enlightened
And he's
is
been
great.
around forever. Like he's been just plugging
Oh
away.
yeah,
forever.
no, dude.
School of Rock.
School of Rock's
him.
great.
That's him.
Also, one of my favorite shows was you'd think I'd know the name of it, but it was with it was on HBO. So amazing.
Enlightened?
Yes.
Yes, so good.
Unbelievable.
He gets into that crazy mind. He's so good at it. And she was like a activist, annoying activist lady.
Yeah.
It's
and
fun.
so I think he kind of captures just, and like that came out before, like that was kind of this commentary on
Narcissism.
and also it's a strange kind of commentary on female empowerment gone awry.
Oh,
right?
yeah. He's basically saying women are crazy.
It wasn't.
Is there any other kind?
It wasn't that flat-footed, right?
Yes.
It wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's so good with the layers and the nuance. And
All right, I'll give it another chance.
it's good. And
No,
he can do the twists and turns, too, with the
yeah.
mystery shit.
Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah.
what are your top movies like ever? What do you go to?
Top movies ever.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's been a while. It's so weird when it ends up with Rodney Dangerfield on the screensaver. God, what do I love? Like, what did I love? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like I want to say It's a Wonderful Life, but
Classic.
you know,
That's a great movie.
It is
Yeah.
a good movie.
I loved Apostle with Robert Duvall.
Never seen it. I heard it's great.
It's really good. It's
Throw it
a
on the
lot
list.
of great story in that.
He's always good.
You know, but I love a lot of Alexander Payne stuff.
Oh, love
I can
Payne.
see you in that type of movie.
I would love to do that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Sideways is as good as
Yeah.
it gets, man. That's
Yeah,
a great
and
movie.
so there's, but I love like,
Is that what he looks like?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
never knew that.
So some of that comedy of that, even though like I think, and I like the last one he did,
Me
but
too.
it was just like, but he captures a comedy that is not as and by the way, it's different from what we do. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I love the fact that it kind of, it's interesting that we're talking about him with Mike White because they're both have this approach to like these characters that are not traditional. So like Mike White and also Alexander Payne, you know, supposedly on Sideways, George Clooney really wanted to be in it. And Alexander Payne was like, no, I don't want him. I want this TV guy.
Thomas Hayden Church.
And Thomas Hayden Church was amazing.
Killed it.
He's so
And
funny
so-
in it.
And I'm sure Mike White picks whoever the hell he wants for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
White Lotus. I auditioned for White Lotus.
Whoa.
The first one during the pandemic. It was the
Patrick Schwarzenegger role.
no, the first season. It was the guy. He was so good. He was the Australian
Zahn?
guy who ends up eating ass. Eating,
Wait, it's been a while. Hold on. Pull up the poster.
I think he's
Australia-
the hotel.
Oh, the hotel guy.
Murray, whatever his name.
He was good.
Guy who gets got, right?
Yeah,
The drug addict.
yeah. He gets and then yeah,
Damn.
it is. It's weird because it's like I don't know.
Don't you hate that when I've auditioned for commercials and then you're like on the road bombing at the hotel and you see the commercial with the guy and he looks just like you and you're like, God damn it, he's just a little better looking.
Well, I look at that and I'm like, why would he think I would be right for that character?
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
that too.
I mean, you probably look at a wide range of people, right?
Yeah.
I also just found out that every actor since this first season earned the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Ah,
Across the board, everyone made $30,000 an episode. Maybe
Interesting.
$40,000 an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I looked up the resort in Thailand. It's a 4 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like 500 a night.
Yeah. And by the way, so like,
But it's more
here's
now.
the other thing. I
Yeah.
didn't read the article, and I don't know if this is just clickbait, but, you know, because we talk about navigating the zeitgeist, right? Supposedly, and I only watched the first episode, but Carrie Coon's character there was a whole storyline where she had a kid that was trans, and that storyline was cut.
Because of Trump.
And not because of Trump, but because I think that like we do live in this day and age where people like there's a fatigue surrounding it.
Oh.
You know what it is though? Also, it's like
Interesting.
they did it in Fargo, and it was a really good season, I thought. But they did in Fargo with the kids, like non-binary, and it does get to a point where you're like, all right, but the math isn't adding up. It's like when you watch TV and every judge is a black woman, and you're like,
Right.
Of course.
you're doing this to do this now.
Well,
That says something about Mike White, that he's like, hey, maybe they'll think this, so I won't do this. You know, he's
Right.
3 steps ahead of us.
yeah.
Well, he often does show both sides of an issue.
Yeah.
So I think showing the
Well, life
other
is both
side
sides
of
of
the trans
it.
issue
Yeah.
is not cute now, where, because of the
Aha.
draconian laws that Trump put in place.
Right.
I think it's sort of like, I don't think we should show the other side here.
Yeah.
Well, but I actually think it's different from that. I think that the evolution is that you don't get hero points for portraying it. There's an exhaustion,
Aha.
like you're saying, of being exposed to it, and that's not. It's not a fearful or unempathetic take on it. It's just kind of like, also,
It's been done.
why give if half the country was like, we are so sick of that stuff, please stop, he knew to like go, all right, we don't need it anyway.
Right. That's what I'm
Is
saying.
it making the show better? I mean, and there's so many people watching this stuff as escapism.
Yes.
And so many shows now are like work. And you don't want to like turn on a show to zone out, especially a show like this. And you're just like, why are you throwing this at me right now? I'm trying to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch a murder take place.
Yeah.
Why are you throwing? No,
But I kind of lost, like even the first episode where it was like, and I don't know if I really, I think I gave up on the second season. But, and Mike White is brilliant. And if he's watching this by chance, I really want to be in. But like that first episode where I was like, and the guy's like, there's someone shooting. I'm like, okay. And then we're going to spend the whole season. It's like, who was the shooter?
Yeah.
Who was the person coming undone? Was it this guy? Was it this guy? Which reminded me of the first season where the casket, it's like, all right, who's in the casket? Why is that guy upset? We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that just his style? I guess it's
But
his move.
that's probably effective storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think he knows what he's doing.
yeah.
Yeah. I think, welcome back to the Mike White Show.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
Talented guy.
Great. And enlightened, one of the, I can't believe that didn't.
I know.
Maybe I should watch it. What are your
Brilliant.
go-to shows when you're on the road and you're like, I just want to zone out? Like, what's like a comfort show for you?
Hmm.
I'm a news junkie. So
Oh no, be careful.
I totally, but
You zone out to Stossel?
John Stossel. Why is my mustache not getting gray? So yeah, no, I don't really like. I loved what's the Apple show that everyone loves with Adam Scott. I love the
Severance.
Severance. I love the first season. Everyone's like, the second season, you got to watch it. I still haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I love the first season of Game of Thrones offshoot Iron Eagle, what it's called.
Really?
Then the second
Eagle.
season, I couldn't get into. And so it's just like now I'm so impatient. I don't have the commitment to even start something. And some of it is figuring out. It's navigating what to watch with my wife, with my kids. Mm-hmm. And so we end up like I have like a 12, 13, 15-year-old at home and the other two are at college. So it's usually a horror film. That's what escapes the veto-proof thing. Or, but like I can't. I will, like sometimes I'll push in an Ari Aster movie. I'll be like, we're watching Midsommar. And they're like, what?
Oh, geez.
And my wife who, when we were dating, we would watch a lot of indie films, is like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, we're trying to relax. Why are we watching an Ari Aster movie? But he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's great.
And
he did Hereditary, right?
So like we watched that, and she's like, "What are we doing?"
That's scary.
Yeah.
I was just like, "I love it." So, but like that fits in that kind of horror adjacent where I'll dip into that if I'm gonna pull my dad card thing. But it's a lot of like I'm trying to think of like a horror film, but it's usually like a horror film that a 12 and a 13-year-old would want to watch. So, but on the road, I'm just consuming news about how our economy is about to collapse, stuff like that.
Good stuff.
And just also mindful.
Right as we're all announcing new tours.
That is a horror film in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's bizarre how we're processing it and how there's a certain denial. And
Canada's mad at us. Never thought I'd see that.
Canada. Let me tell you this. I did this as a joke when I was in Vancouver, and by the way, those audiences in Vancouver were amazing.
I'm going there soon. I love Vancouver.
Great town.
Amazing audiences. And so I have this joke where I make a reference to, I think it's son of some serial killer's son of Sam or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it was Taxi Driver where the guy was like, I'm going to shoot the president to impress this girl, right?
Yeah.
And so I have this joke where this dog tells me to shoot the president. And so I do that joke. And so every time I do it, there's some audiences that don't get the fact that it's a serial killer reference, and they think it's me proposing to shoot Trump, and they go bananas, right? In Canada,
oh God,
it would turn into an.
They hand you the gun.
And so and then I would kind of riff on it afterwards. I was like, because I've been doing stand-up long enough. I remember when from my perspective, as an American, when you would do a show in Europe, there would be a little condescending. You guys have done international shows, right? And so, and the English are just kind of condescending in general. But when we would deal with, so when we went through the Gulf War, post 9/11, the Gulf War, it's like there was a moment when we lost the Irish, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the Irish Americans. And as an Irish American, I was like, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But the Canadians were always like, what are you
gonna do?
It's not you, it's your government doing this foreign policy.
Sorry.
And so, but my joke was like, I would bring that up, that the Canadians were always there, and now the Canadians are like, we hate you.
Yeah.
And they would.
Oh, they're ready to scrap, dude.
Oh yeah.
They're furious.
Oh yeah, they were the upstairs neighbor that was boring. Mexico was the neighbor you were like, this guy's a little unhinged. But now they're the angry neighbor.
It feels like our parents are going to do a divorce, and they're like, is it our dad's fault? Yeah.
I went to a whiskey bar in Vancouver because I'm an alcoholic. I do that in every city now. And
welcome.
Went to this Irish. It had an Irish name, but it's whiskeys from around the world, right? And those bars are amazing. There's amazing ones all across the country too, by the way. And so went in there, sat down, and I don't like Scotch. I'll try Canadian whiskey if I'm in Canada. If I'm in Ireland, I'll drink Irish whiskey. But I like bourbon, and so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a bourbon. No bourbon.
Ooh.
I go, this is a world whiskey bar, and they're like, no, we're not selling any American whiskey. And I go,
tariffs, baby.
So did you get rid of it? And they're like, oh, it's back there. We're just not selling it.
Damn, they're hurting their own.
And some of it was
holding
like
hostage.
So it was like, okay, I get it. you know. And then we
Yikes.
went back to our hotel that was owned by an American company, and I got a bourbon.
I mean, did they go all the way with like no Coke, no Sprite?
I think it comes down. I think some of that
You gotta
has
drink
to do
Canada
with,
Dry, dude.
I guess
No,
so.
I think
I bet that's
Canada-
American.
I mean, even though Coke, I think that Canada is being tactical, like they're picking red states. So the fact that bourbon and rye comes from red states, like
Bodega Cat comes from a red state.
Tennessee.
Oh, but sold in blue.
Yeah.
We're all over the
We're
map.
all over the map, baby.
Ay, ay, ay. But you were born in a red state,
I am.
so watch
I am.
out,
So what
Canada.
about you?
Wow.
I think Indiana voted for Obama once. Louisiana was.
We're reminiscing.
Indiana's got a black friend. All right, well,
20 years ago.
shit, we gotta wrap.
We
this
got to
thing
wrap it up.
here.
Jim, you want to plug some dates? Are you going out? Are you doing solo?
I'm always touring. But no, I want to plug that Fathertime Bourbon. You know what would be a perfect gift for Father's Day?
Bodega
A bottle of Bodega Cat and Fathertime.
I love it.
Where can
right?
people get Father
Because you
Time?
need a bourbon and you need a rye on your bar.
It's
You gotta
true.
make the
Right?
cocktails.
What's where can people buy this?
Fathertime bourbon.com.
Okay,
It's really good stuff, guys.
Very nice.
It's not bad.
We give
right?
it the Bodega Cat seal of approval. This is very good whiskey. Jim's got very good bourbon.
Yeah, we had
You know,
Port
it's
Osos
like
on it. It's horrible.
we're not competitors.
We're not.
No.
We're friends. Maybe we do a collab.
We're
at some
friends. We're
point.
like Canada and America.
Go get Jim's stuff. See Jim on the road. One of the best comics.
Killer.
Guys,
We got
appreciate it.
April 25th at KeyBank State Theater.
Yes,
That's in
going
Cleveland.
to Cleveland.
Hell yeah.
And then May 1st at the Pace Center in Greenville. And you're going to North Carolina. Charlotte, South Carolina. North
we talk-
Charleston.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love. Every state, so I invite distilleries. You should do that.
Oh,
You invite distillery folks to the show. I learn a lot.
Matt Herman, get off it. Get on
you
it.
know?
smart.
And then, so like, and it's fun, you know, and obviously Cincinnati, it's like right next to Kentucky. So there's
Right.
tons. And then, you know, obviously there's great rye in Indiana. So
Damn, you're doing a lot of shows at the Taft Theater.
Vegas.
That's a
you
great
know,
room.
It's a great room.
Ooh, the Win. You're doing some fun stuff coming up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Vegas.
No, I'm very excited.
Foxwoods. And
Love
then
it.
All over
Grand
the place.
Rapids, Duluth, Atlanta. I hear Duluth is a hidden gem.
Duluth is fun.
That's what Nate was raving about it.
Yeah. Duluth and also Rochester, Minnesota.
I
Oh,
did
it's
that.
a good one. Yeah, I've done a casino there once.
yeah.
That's where the Mayo Clinic is.
Yep, that's right.
I'm checking in, baby.
That's where they have the biggest bell tower, biggest bell.
You went for the Mayo.
I have a bit on bells that was inspired by Rochester.
Okay.
So, but that's like 2 specials ago. So,
All right.
but anyway, thanks you guys. You guys also have shows coming up.
Yeah, we got
got that
shows
right.
coming up. I got Minneapolis, Phoenix, San Diego, Sacramento, SF, Portland added a late show there. Get on that. We got Seattle, Vancouver, we added a late show, Boise, Idaho, Denver, and I just added some shows for the summer. I'm going to do the Wilbur again.
Nice.
I'll probably do a few there for a weekend maybe, and then I got Jersey. Gonna do Jersey in July. It looks like we're gonna do Count Basie.
Great
And-
room.
Count Basie's a great.
Yeah, and then there was one other we just added there too.
That's by the way, that's where
In Wellmont and Montclair
Seinfeld
as well.
does. I mean, not Seinfeld. Springsteen.
Oh shit!
Does, not
I saw Lily
there,
Tomlin
but
there
like-
back in the day. She killed it. It was a great show. I mean, it's beautiful. I can't wait. So yeah, samuel.com/shows. Follow us all on. Are you on Punch Up, Jim? We got to get you on there. If you're
What's
not.
Punch Up?
Oh, we got it. We'll talk.
Is it another money laundering scheme?
Human trafficking, but
Bristol. Who's doing Bristol?
I'll go anywhere.
That's
Asheville.
ESPN.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Asheville.
no, not
Bristol?
it's Bristol, Connecticut, not Tennessee.
Oh, that's Bristol.
Yeah.
Tennessee. New
Oh, that's
Brunswick.
Bristol, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like where they got the big race, don't they?
Yes, the Speedway is over there. New Brunswick.
See, I am white trash.
No one's questioning Ithaca. Then we got going to the UK, Reykjavik. And
Reykjavik, so fun.
Is it? Well,
Yes.
those are your people, you whitey.
Yes. You got to get the Black Death. That's where Black Death is not a watery drink. It's actually it's like 160 proof liquor.
What is
Damn.
it? Sickle cell?
160
All
is fucking vicious.
Belfast to Glasgow. Keep going. Then we're back at Rochester, Portchester, Albany, Burlington, Wausau. I hope I'm saying that right.
Wausau.
Thank you. Eugene, San Jose, Hyannis, Mass at the Melody Tent. That'll be interesting. Connecticut, PA, and then we're going to Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
That's a
which
trip.
I love. You've been there.
So are you bringing the baby?
I think we're going to leave him in the car.
Yeah?
No, I think we're going to just give him to the grandma.
No,
for
yeah,
2
because
weeks.
that is a long run down there.
Yeah, he's young. He's, 3 months, not ready.
He also smokes, so that long flight would be
Yeah,
hard for
that's
him.
true. We got him on the patch.
Also, lastly, Page to Stage, a documentary I worked on with Mark, is now available on Punch Up Live.
Punch up.
Page to stage.
We'd love to have you on,
Actually in
Jim.
it.
Yeah, you're in it. You and Jerry and John Stewart. We did that military benefit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we were shooting that.
That's where I was like, I'm gonna get everyone to sign this bottle of. That was Canadian whiskey that they make. They bottle in Oregon.
Oh yeah, that
You know
was
what I mean?
that was right when Trump won, and John Stewart went up and talked about it, and it got weird. But yeah, fun night, fun episode. Check it out on Punch Up.
Oh, so wait a minute. So how many? So that's episode 2. So there's
Yes.
different episodes.
where we tried to get Mark to write one clean joke to perform in front of you and Jerry. It took him 6 weeks to come up
And
with
so
one
wait a
clean
minute.
joke.
So is this on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, we're trying to sell this, but it's doing well on Punch Up. We're making a couple bucks, and yeah, it's on Punch Up, and then eventually it'll be on YouTube. But it's behind a paywall right now.
Oh.
We'll explain Punch Up to you. It's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
You should get on it.
Is it your business?
No, it's a friend of
No.
ours
Really?
started it, and we use it because, views and engagement are down across the socials. Like, it doesn't matter your follower count. No one's seeing your posts anymore. So
Why is that?
because they're changing the algorithm to compete with they see TikTok's getting banned, so they're trying to get everyone from TikTok onto Instagram. So it's like they're not prioritizing like jokes anymore. It's now just like dumb shit and dancing and stuff like that would blow up on
Culture war
TikTok.
shit.
So you can build
My algorithm's all prayers.
well, you get a lot of if you do Punch Up, you get a lot. You can just collect emails, and you just have emails or phone numbers, and you could just blast them, and it's not buried. So that's
I
why
like it.
We're
Bill
a big
Burr's
fan
on
of it.
now.
Yeah, Burr, Segura's on it now. Everyone's getting on. Tim Dillon, Mark, and I. Louis on it.
there, yes.
It's good, man. We recommend it. But
Louis tour date?
Jim Jeffries is on there.
Oh, nice. I just talked to him in Nashville.
He's the man.
He's a good sober Jim it's a different bird, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fun guy. So yeah, check it out. Check out his Hulu special as well. That's out there. And yeah.
Fathertime-bourbon.com.
Father time.
All right, guys.
There you go.
Thanks,
We'll see you all in
guys.
hell.
Sunday's the day for my next offender. A bit of Kiva wreck, the beer juice close. I've had a little too much bourbon, and Norman's talking shit about the fucking Pope.